Tonight, the risky return of Type A. A man puts on too much sunblock, and we launch a rocket. It's all happening now on the 1911 Syndicate.
Stand by. This is what Type A Rifles is known for. Rifles. Quality ARs, which we featured on the channel for years. Take that, go get her cleaned up. Now, without question, this is the gun that we have been asked to review the most this year, the EG11. And I knew for a while that Type A was working on a 2011 AKA double stack 1911. And that made me nervous, to be honest with you, because I love the 2011 more than anything. And for a rifle company that has no background in 2011s to come out with a $4,000 plus pistol.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Given our history with Type A rifles and our love for the 1911 platform, we've received a lot of requests to review the Type A EG11. And to be upfront with you, this gun is a honeypot for me. You see, it has everything I love in a pistol. But the question is, does a good feature set make a good gun?
Tighter than a nun's. Well, the Pit Viper didn't have that, and that's $7,000. Yes, the trigger's very nice. Yes, I'm a sucker for multi-FD. But is it good? You'd probably like us to shoot it now.
Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
Welcome to the show, boys and girls. Today we're talking about new 2011s, and we've often said this on the channel, which the launch of a new 2011 is the gun world's equivalent to launching a new supercar.
Sure.
Right? It takes on all that same energy where there's speed, there's exclusivity, it's exciting, there's topless women, like
all those things.
It gets crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm the kind of guy that gets into that.
That likes topless women and the speed and the
gun as well. You know, and like guns are totally cool too. The other stuff's cooler, but like the gun's also cool. But it's like I am a consumer of these kind of things.
Yeah.
So when a new 2011 comes out, I definitely take an interest. This one, as kind of alluded to within the intro and everything, this one made me nervous.
Yeah? How come?
So here's why. Because if we go back to car world, there are
legacy brands that you associate with being supercars, right? There's Ferrari, there's Lamborghini, there's McLaren,
yeah.
right? You know, Bugatti, stuff like that. Much in the same way that if we go into double stack 1911 world, we've got Staccato, we've got Infiniti, OG of the game, you got Nighthawk, you know, you've got these companies that have been around. Type A is brand new to that space.
Sure.
And not only are they brand new, they're a rifle company.
Yeah.
That's jumping into the space of making a pretty premium tiered priced 1911.
2011.
2011.
Yeah, double stack 1911
double
for
stack
you guys out
1911.
there.
For those of
Sure.
you, I don't work for Staccato, so I will say 2011, even
Sure.
though technically that is a term reserved for them per their copyrights and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, but that makes me a little bit nervous. And part of the reason this gun makes me a bit nervous is because I know these guys and I like these guys.
Well, and we like the products that they make, right? I mean, how
Yes.
many rifles have we shot on the channel of theirs?
I mean, I've owned 3 of their guns, you know, personally. So it's just like, this makes me a little nervous because if I'm going to tell you something, and I don't know if you've ever kind of connected the dots on this. I can be a real asshole.
Oh, shocking. I've never known that.
You know what I'm saying?
I've never experienced that.
And it's like, and for those of you at home, you know, it's just, it's a pro tip. You know, I can be a little bit of a prick sometimes.
Cut in of you just being a cocksucker for like 30 seconds.
And so to send this to me to review, it's just like, oh man, you know, this one makes me a little edgy. So I guess on that note, relationship with Type A, hey, I'm not going to come here and act like I'm unbiased in this. I know the guys at Type A. I like them. That doesn't mean that I can't come bring you an honest review. I can. It just stings a little bit when you've got to be honest about certain things. And I'm not saying that there will be that. I'm just saying, hey, I do know them. I like them. I have multiple guns from them. This gun is here for the review. I'll wind up getting a personal one at some point, but it's like this one wind up going back to the end of it. Well, with that said, let's start getting into it. Okay, before we get into it, quick thanks to Segura Gear. You got that shit on? I'm going to surprise you with something today. Which one you got on?
I got the black multicam.
The
Inner
light. Okay,
Yep.
So here's the deal. I'm actually wearing the light inner for an actual range belt today.
How's it working?
So here's the deal. If you don't have too much weight on you, like rifle mags and just everything, it's actually perfectly adequate.
Because you got 2 pistol mags and that.
Yeah, and it's actually more comfortable just because, again, we're a big proponent of hip health and being able to keep your hips mobile, and the light inner Velcro belt would be a good option. It is our go-to EDC belt.
1911 Syndicate will save you a couple bucks on the website.
Yep.
And they got this. They got the Battle Wagon, which is like their form of a battle belt that layers on top of this inner light belt. And check them out, guys. Thanks for your support.
Money. All right, let's start getting into this. So, first things first, because again, I took on a sort of, this is probably the first review that's come out on this, so it puts a certain,
responsibility.
Yeah, to like, hey, do a good, thorough job with this.
Sure.
Because you're the first thing that's coming out aside from the manufacturer. And of course, every manufacturer is going to say their stuff's great.
Also with the track record of Type A on the channel, people want a good, thorough review from you that's not pandering to the friendship.
Yeah,
right?
And because we've done multiple Type A videos.
Sure.
So just to hit you with some fundamentals. So this thing didn't happen overnight. Project's about 2 years in the making. I was aware of this for a little while. And, did not shoot the gun prior to getting this one in for the review, so I wasn't part of the T&E or anything like that. But, just would chime in with a couple little, thoughts here and there. But point being, it's like, hey, this has been going on for a while. This wasn't, they woke up one day and just said, screw it. Next month we're launching in 2011. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It's a lot of research and things that go into it. Now, they had no background in 1911s or 2011s in this case. So really, kind of how it came down, one of the owners over there, I won't say their names for the sake of not blowing their cover, but it's like one of the owners over there basically said, hey, I really want to do a 2011 project. And he just started studying. And it was relatively that straightforward.
I mean, they make so much in-house that they probably have all the capabilities to do a lot of it.
And that's part of it as well that we'll get into. But
Makes
it's like,
sense.
one of the owners basically said, hey, I'm going to be the 2011 guy, and I'm going to really study this, and I'm going to nerd out it. And hey, my background is in engineering and machining things, so it's like, I think I can figure that out.
Cool.
And voila, that thing is birthed a couple years after that fact. So as mentioned, they are machinists. On our first Type A video, on my multi-FDE gun, shoot, probably, 3 years ago at this point or something.
Yep.
One of the things we highlighted is the fact that they're a machine shop, and so many of the components of their rifles, they actually make in their own machine shop.
Yep.
Prior to being Type A rifles, they were, and they still are, it's just like kind of subsidiaries and shit like this.
BG Defense,
BG
right?
Defense,
Yeah.
right, where they, make parts and OEM stuff and things like that. Then they started making their own guns, Type A rifles, and now this wouldn't be Type A rifles, I guess it'd really just be Type A. But point being, when I called them and was doing some, my due diligence on this, I said, look, I know you're not going to make all of this because that would just be ridiculous, and no one does that. Minus Infinity, really, no one does that. So it's like
Manufacturing costs skyrockets. If that's the case.
and I'll kind of break down. But I was like, hey, give me a real sense. Like what are you guys making? Because I know you're making some of this. So like, what are you guys actually making yourselves? So they're making the frame, which is impressive because not many companies make their own frames. They're making their grip. They're making the magwell. They're making the optic plate. There's probably some smaller, odds and ends and things like that. But like those are some of the big ones. And frankly, between frame and grip, that's two pretty big components right there.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like, hey, and same thing, base plates. They're making their own base plates and everything. So it's like, hey, look, they are making quite a bit of this themselves. And the reality is, at this stage of the game for them, they're really kind of gonna take a gauge of the market and just say, okay, well, what is the interest and what's our projection of how many of these we're gonna do? Because again, they're a machine shop. So if the interest is there, they'll scale up.
Sure.
And they'll be like, okay, cool, let's start doing our slides or barrels or whatever now, because it's like clearly the demand is there. So it's like, hey, they're making some of this, some of it they're not making. So, and that's just par for the course for pretty much, hell, most people don't make shit.
Yeah.
So, if we kind of call it like it is. So, let's talk some fundamentals. First thing I do when I get a new and I will often call this a 1911 because it's in the 1911 family, but when I get a new 1911 or 2011, I check the fit and finish. So, scope that out.
Yep.
So frame to slide fit or slide to frame fit, is going to be kind of the first thing you do, which is, you just kind of,
go
see
back and forth this way and see if you can go up and down this way.
Yeah, you just see, okay, how tight is this
any
thing?
wiggle?
There ain't a damn bit of, there ain't nothing in there.
Nope.
It is a very, very tightly fit gun, which will be something that we'll, kind of continue to talk about as we go. But it is a very tightly fit gun. It's not a machine fit gun. Just so you guys have an understanding, basically on tight guns like that, the parts come oversized and then they are sort of like whittled down by a human and blended together to the point where it's like, okay, you find that really tight fit. So this is not a machine fit, it is a hand fit slide to frame gun. Now, part of that is with a gun that tight, I do believe that you guys should expect a break-in period on a gun like that, okay? And I think it's important that you hear that. And also be aware that when that gun came to me, it had 1,000 to 1,500 rounds on it.
Okay.
So it had been through the break-in period.
Okay.
So they'd gotten all the kinks out of it at that point. So, and I guess I'll just go ahead and tell you, today I actually had my first malfunction on it, stovepipe. No big deal. And frankly, it was on one of the mags that's been not locking back and stuff. So you go,
a little skeptical.
Mag could have been the problem there, but It's like, hey, I've got, especially after today, for sure 1,000 rounds on the gun and hey, one inline stovepipe, no big deal. So the gun's been very reliable. That said, if you were getting one and assuming they maintain that sort of tight finish that they have on this, I would expect a break-in period. I would just say, hey, pretend like your first 1,000 rounds on the gun. You're gonna need to chalk up for, you're gonna have some bullshit you're gonna have to deal with, right? You're gonna need to be clear of malfunctions and everything, because everything's just gotta kind of meld and blend itself together, right? So,
and the people that say, if I'm paying that much for a gun, that should not happen, don't understand.
You don't understand
how 2011s, 1911s, high-end ones especially, are made. So it's part of it.
And it's not to say that you always will, but it's just to say, because I've had some very tight guns where you're like, hey man, I don't know, luck of the draw, I didn't have any malfunctions. Yeah. But I'm just saying, hey, on a gun that's tight like that, I would go ahead and expect that to be the case. Next thing I do after fit and finish is really check the trigger. So the trigger on this, flat face trigger, and it's a single stage, meaning there is no take up on it. You are just on the wall immediately. And then she's gonna break on you, and so which is a little bit different. Most 2011 triggers are gonna be two-stage, so it's gonna be, hey, a little bit of take up, you're on the wall, trigger breaks. This is single stage. Whew. When I first got it, I actually didn't, if I'm being perfectly honest, when I first got it, I was like, I don't know, man, I don't think I'm really gonna like the single stage thing. And I'm actually perfectly fine with it. I run that just as competently as I do any other 2011. So it's made no difference to me. Weight on the trigger, I think it's gonna be closer to 4 pounds. This is one of the things that I've talked to them about is, hey, I think you could take a little bit off the trigger and probably make it, what I would like to see is them to do two options. And maybe they will do this, I'm not saying they will, but what I would like to see is give the end user two options when they order the gun, which is
like a duty weight,
3.5 to 4. That's your duty weight, and then like around 2.5.
Yeah, for like a comp.
See, I'm someone that wants
like
2.5, and I'm not even running comps.
Sure.
So it's just like, hey, for your people that are enthusiasts of the platform that run these all the time, they're probably going to love around 2.5. if you're a newbie to that platform, go, hey, 3.5/4 is probably going to be, good to go. Just go ahead and get spun up on that. But so anyway, that's the trigger. It's clean. I really can't find much to tweak there. It's very clean. It's it's solid. Nicely done. Barrel. 5.5 or 5.5. I was about to say a 5.5 6-inch barrel. Well, that just wouldn't make no sense, would it?
Was it 5.5-inch bull barrel?
5. But
5-inch.
Yeah, so
bull
5-inch bull barrel. It's KKM barrel.
Okay.
KKM makes great 1911 barrels. For those of you that are into that world, you'll know. Hey, KKM, good stuff.
I'm assuming it's oversized and they fit it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So anyway, KKM, great barrels, no issues with that. You should have a very, very accurate system there. It is crowned. You'll notice at the end of it, they've got a nice little.
Yeah, no one's behind the camera.
Yeah, got a nice little crown at the end of the barrel there, which just helped keep it from getting dinged and everything. And allegedly there's something to do with gases and how they disperse. That's all.
Science.
It's all, let's be honest. We ain't those guys that teach you about that. That said, okay, let's talk about the grip. So aluminum grip module, which I'm very happy with. At this price point, and we'll get into that because there's almost a couple different ways to look at the price. But at this price point, for me, it's really not a debate. You've got to have a metal grip module on your 2011, unless you're the Pit Viper and money becomes no object apparently, and we can charge $7,000 with no dot or metal grip, but that's neither here nor there, So metal grip module, and I actually quite like it. So the texture on the sides.
Yep.
So if it matches the serrations.
It'd be like your 3 to 9 position on the grip, match your serrations all around the gun.
Which is kind of cool. I've never seen anyone do that.
I like details like that.
I think it's neat.
Yeah.
I think it's a neat little touch that you have a sort of a coordinated look between the grip and the serrations.
Sure.
And the top treatment. If you look on the top, if you flash up top there, we probably got B-roll we can show you guys, but it's like the top treatment's the same thing. And I think it's pretty neat. This portion of the grip isn't super bitey. Like it's adequate, but it's definitely not super. If the whole grip was that texture, I'd say you guys went too smooth.
Yep, agreed.
But the front and the back are very
aggressive. 12
aggressive.
to 6 are super aggressive.
Yeah, very aggressive. So because of that, you're fine. And the reality is, right, if you just think about it from a scientific perspective, which is how we like to think of ourselves, that's where the grip magic for me is happening.
Yeah.
Right, because that's where you lock the thing into that vise and you really clamp down. So the sides is really not what I need to be aggressive.
Sure.
Not to mention the benefit of that would be, in a hypothetical world, if you were going to be that guy, you could carry that because the portion that's going to be hitting the old belly is not the aggressive part. You'd be good to go.
Yep.
So it would actually work perfectly fine for that.
I dig that.
About my only other feedback in relation to the grip was that, and I told Type A this, I think they should do a double undercut on the trigger.
Absolutely.
On the trigger guard. So I think that, hey, we can go ahead and take this little zone here, make a double undercut there. I think aesthetically it would be nice. There's probably an overblown functional feature of it because that's where I index on my index finger. That's a little, I think, probably overhyped. But I just do think it would look nice, and I think it would be just a nice little feature. It's my 2 cents. The thumb safety. So ambidextrous comes that way, and that's a good thing. It's tight. It's a tight fit thumb safety. So yeah, I can't really find much fault there. I've had no instances where it's come on inadvertently while I've been shooting.
It's in a very good position. My palm didn't knock it up like on some safeties, especially ambi.
And I believe, if I remember thinking they exaggerated my side a little bit, but it might be the same.
No, I believe your side's a little fatter.
Is it a little fatter?
Yep.
I remember thinking it was. So it's like that is. I don't rely on them doing that for all the guns. They'll probably wind up being the same on both sides. Just saying, hey, that was kind of a nice little thing they did for my gun there.
Sure.
Even though it's not technically my gun, my review gun, I suppose. So there's that. We've got a pinned grip safety, and I must say, bra freaking vo for that. I wish we could all get on board with that.
Yep.
Because the reality is, as long as your thumb safety is fit well, get the damn grip safety out of the equation. I don't need it. I don't want it. There's too many times, even though it's uncommon, where, hey, you're drawing fast and you just don't have a perfect grip and it doesn't depress all the way, and it is what it is. So it's pinned, it's out of the way,
Thank you.
You like it. And it's blended very nice. There's, the fit and finish is very good.
Yeah, again,
So,
blended nicely. There's no hot
talking
spots
about
there.
like this area right here.
Yeah, there's no hot spots on that. There's nothing that's going to bite you. So, again, well done for a company that does not have a background in making pistols. Okay, last couple things. Try cut slide so that, a little cut. Sometimes 2011 holster fitment can be a real challenge. This is one that I had worked up for my Infinity, actually, and it perfectly fits the Type A. So these are from QVO, the ones from that Roger does over at QVO. Truthfully fits the vast majority of the 2011s that I've got. So for those of you that sometimes ask about holster, hey, that would be a good option. This is with an X300. You could run it without an X300. So hey,
What's the X300 Vampire?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit thinner, a little bit smaller, which is why I'm mentioning it.
Yeah.
The
but
bulb is-
this isn't as perfect a fit as my Infinity, which is a regular X300. So with an X300, still this would work.
Yep.
It would just be a slight bit more snug in the holster.
Yeah.
Actually, more appropriate fit, to be honest. Can I do a Syndicate plug?
Yeah.
Hey everyone, if you're looking for additional ways to support the channel, Patreon would be a great solution to that. Unfortunately, we can't afford real sunblock around here, so I'm stuck with what apparently was sunblock that I got stuck with clown paint for. So Patreon donations are greatly appreciated. That way we can up the sunblock budget here. And then, real estate would also be great. So again, if you support us with real estate sales, then we can afford to upgrade our sunblock game. That said, I'm definitely not going to get any more skin cancer today. I'm definitely good on my face today. Yeah. So anyway, thanks for the support. Okay, price on this. Let's talk price because price is a little bit interesting. So $5,674. But wait, there's more. Okay, actually, to a degree, there's less. Okay, so here's the deal. They're selling this as a package.
Okay.
Where's this case?
Right here.
Grab that case. Start with this real quick. So I believe this is the final case that the ones that are shipping either now or soon are coming in. But it's a really nice case. I always like highlighting cases. I'm a little bit of a nerd for it just because you spend a lot of money on a gun, and I just think it should come with a nice case.
Presentation, right?
I think it matters. And the rifles have always come with good cases, the Savior ones, and I just think, hey, look, cool. Very, very nice case. So you basically get your case. You get gun, but here's the thing. The gun comes with your Surefire, and it comes with your RMR.
Oh, so it ships with both?
Yes.
Okay.
It also comes with either 2 or 3 Atlas mags with the base plate, and it also comes with a holster from A&R Design. So it comes as a kit, okay? It comes as a complete package, and I don't know if they're gonna do that forever, but on the initial launch, they basically wanted like the launch edition ones, and I believe they even told me that like all the components will be serialized, so it's like, hey, the case is like 001, the gun's like 001, so it's like everything's actually serialized to go together.
I like that.
I think it's cool.
It's details, presentation.
Now, I have told them that my 2 cents, I don't personally really like the package thing just because I've got X300s and I've got dots, and so you're just like, I don't know, that's $1,000 worth of stuff that I personally don't need that I've got it.
Sure.
Now, everyone might not be in that same boat, but if you were to do the math, right, and say, okay, well, take away the dot and the light, which are things that you're gonna want. I'm just saying you might already have them, but if you were to take it away, you wind up having about $1,200 worth of accessories that you're getting there. So if you take that away and you go, well, what's the gun actually costing? About 45.
I was gonna say 43 to 44?
Yeah, 40, you call it mid-4s. So it's, mid-4s, red dot cut, metal grip and everything, and you go, okay, that is about what I do feel like that gun should cost. So I don't really have an issue with a $4,700 or $5,700 price tag. It's just a matter of like, you may or may not like the idea of like, okay, that's the light and the optic and all the stuff that's coming with it.
Sure.
And that's just kind of end user. Some people might be into it. I'm just one that's like, just, sell me the gun and I'm cool from there. Lead time on these, a little bit TBD, but here's what I'm gonna say as someone who maybe did the first Type A rifle review that came out. It's like deja vu all over again. So they had a lot of, there were a lot of orders that came from that, and their lead time grew quite a bit.
Substantially.
And sometimes I would get messages like, yo, dude, like, what's the lead time? You said this stuff's good. What's up with the lead time? It's been a year or whatever the number is. I don't know. And so I'm just going to go ahead and on record and just tell you, hey, I don't know what the lead time is. I'm just saying, I think if you wind up getting one of these, you should just settle in for a year.
Sure.
I'm taking a guess. It's almost to a degree I'm trying to cover my own ass here and just go, hey, look, don't say that Jake said you're getting your gun in 30 days. I got no clue.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Well, and plus, if you say a year and it shows up in 4 months, you're welcome.
Yeah, and if it's a year and a half, don't yell at me, man. Hey, I don't work for Type A. I'm just a guy doing the review. As mentioned, no malfunctions, -1 inline stovepipe today that may or may not have been mag related, so not really concerned with that. On that note, I would also tell you that, hey, when the gun came to me, I disassembled it, I threw some oil on it, and I did not touch it until yesterday.
Cool.
Okay, so all the rounds prior to today that I had on it were basically one initial coating of oil, and then I let it go.
Cool.
And I do that for a couple reasons. One, laziness. I mean, really, though.
I'm glad that was your first.
You know, if we're going to call it.
Sure.
I don't like cleaning guns. I hate it, actually. I despise cleaning guns. But number two, it's sort of your report card. Just to go, okay, sure, I could clean you every time and throw 100 rounds and then clean you again and everything, but it's like, it's not much of a test. So let's just see how you do if I take you to 1,000 rounds and you're dirty and you're caked up and yada, yada. Let's just see how you do. And it did quite well.
Yeah.
Now, again, the gun had already been broken in, so I do think you need to factor that in.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, hey, the evidence supports, well, solid gun. You know?
It's similar if I get a new rifle or a new gun, I'll lube it also and shoot the piss out of it and then clean it. Just because, again, you like to see, hey, were there any malfunctions? Like, you know, it's kind of just a way to proof it.
100%. In terms of shootability, look, it shoots very nice. I think it shoots like I would expect it to shoot for a mid $4,000 something gun.
We both said Fowler. Very similar.
Yeah, I'd say it's a similar shooting experience.
Yeah.
You know, for the end, you know, look, we're not engineers or anything, and, you know, neither company there should be, you know, I don't know. I feel like I wind up being friends with everyone in the 1911 world where I'm like, I'm removing myself from this.
That's a compliment.
Compliment.
I like both guns very much.
It's like, hey, you know, it shoots like I would expect a gun at that price point to shoot is kind of my end message there. And then one other thing, it's almost a public service announcement. So this is going to cost roughly twice what a Staccato costs. Okay. And sometimes I have we talked about this with Joe Bruiser a little bit, which is I never want someone thinking that, okay, so you're telling me if I spend $4,500 instead of $2,500, well, the gun must be twice as good or shoot twice as good. No. You're dealing in marginal percentage gains once you start playing with guns like this. The main reason to get a gun like this is because you like it and you want it, and it's not going to send you in debt to get it. Like, that's a valid...
And you like to maybe support a company and, like, you know...
Yeah, that's totally fine. But I don't want you guys going like, okay, I shoot this good on a Staccato. If I double the money, then my split times are twice as good. It's like, it doesn't really work that way. Like, yeah, you might shoot a little bit better and everything, but it's like, look, buy stuff because you like it. Are there marginal performance benefits? Yes. Do you get upgraded features like metal grips and yada yada? Yes. I'm just saying, understand... Like, the difference in a $2,500 and a $7,000 2011, it's like, you really got to kind of be a bit of a connoisseur to start to really figure out the nuanced details there. And so I guess, you know, at the end of the day, look, it's an impressive opening statement.
Yeah, good job.
For them, you know, it's just like, look, man, rifle company produced that as their first launch of a 1911, and you're just like, good job, guys.
Dude, they did well.
Good job.
He obviously did his homework when he was saying he was going to research and get into 2011.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. It's like I've had a very good experience with it. As mentioned, I was nervous about it because I was like, man, I like you guys, and I like...
You can be aggressive sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like, man, I just don't want to, you know, I mean, every gun reviewer, if they're being honest, you develop relationships over time where it makes it tough to be critical, and it's just like, I'm willing to do that. It just stings when you got to do it. And so I was very happy with the experience that I've had on this.
I think also they probably know that you're that way and expect that from our channel. So they're not going to send you a product that's not going to perform.
Yeah, I would
I'm
certainly
not saying they hand-picked yours. I'm saying they probably did enough research and testing to be like, hey, like, let's send this to the 2011 guy.
Like,
meaning,
it's ready. You know, it's ready to get someone else on it. So anyway, I'm happy with it. As mentioned, I plan on adding one to my, you know, little 1911 shelf, and you know, I'm pretty proud of those guys. You know,
good job,
buckaroo. You know,
good job, son.
So anyway, I don't know that you would carry something like this, but if you were gonna, and some shit popped off one night.
I mean, I would hope that I had Firearms Legal Protection,
I certainly
which is
hope
concealed carry insurance that we use, and they also sponsor the channel. Firearms Legal Protection covers you not only if you use a pistol in a justified self-defense scenario, like say I use this case to literally I'm going to be covered because it'll be legally justified simply on the fact you're an asshole.
I don't think that's actual legal justification.
Oh, no? I'm not a lawyer. Back that up. But Anyways.
I can be an asshole, and you
Okay.
wanted to back in. I would
Yes.
have to threaten you, at which point
feel like it,
I
right?
could. Don't take me to that dark place.
Dude.
I don't want to go to a dark place with you. Okay,
Well,
or
and
him. He's he pushes it.
Anyways,
You remember that?
Firearms Legal Protection has kind of 3 different packages, right? Single guy, married guy that travels. There's a bunch of different options for you guys. What's our code there?
1911 saves you like a third off, and freaking rock and roll.
Perfect. Thank you guys. See you next time.